What's going on, YouTube family? Thanks for joining me again today. I am Marcus Philly, and I'm here to talk about functional bodybuilding training. Specifically, the topic today is going to be how we construct a short-on-time workout, and this is, again, part of the series of training breakdowns and how we are doing things in session, and I'm going to give this kind of live talking breakdown of what we're seeing on the screen. The session today had Ryan, Benji, and Shauna joining us. I'll introduce them in a minute, but before we dive in, I'd like to remind you to go down and give us a thumbs up if this type of video and this content is making an impact, a positive impact in your life and in your training. Secondly, comment below. Specifically, I want you to go right now and write to me, are you having short on time challenges in your training? Not sure how to construct a workout when you don't have an hour and a half or 2 hours to get to the gym. You really only have 45 to 60 minutes. Hopefully I'll address some of those things today in this video, but I'd love to hear from you. What are you challenged with? All right, let's dive in. The cast of characters that was there today for this training session. Ryan. So I met Ryan several months ago through the network of ATG, Athletic Truth Group coaches that are in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. Athletic Truth Group is Ben Patrick's program and his company, and there are a number of coaches that are on a list in the area. I happen to be one of those coaches, a level 2 coach, thanks to my kind of certification that was generously given to me by Ben Patrick for understanding a lot of the ATG principles that are at play and being able to execute a lot of that training myself. We use a lot of those concepts inside of Persist, our functional bodybuilding program, because I believe deeply that they can add a ton of value to our customers. So anyway, Ryan reached out. He wanted to come and meet me, and he wanted to come get a training session in one day. This happened, again, many months ago. Ryan is a former high-level fencer and fencing coach for years. Now he does fitness coaching in the area, and you can likely look him up on the ATG coaches list, Ryan Ariata in the San Francisco Bay Area. Okay, Benji, the next one. Benji's a soccer player who just got back from playing for a club in Spain, so European soccer, came back to the States. He's from this area, and he's kind of regrouping while he figures out the next club that he's going to be playing for. Benji used the ATG training system to help him overcome some knee injuries that he had suffered. I think he got had such a positive response to that training system that he then started a company called Freak Athlete, which develops some of the tools, some of the equipment that you can see in those programs. He has a Nordic bench that he has manufactured and designed, which is awesome. I have one at my home gym, but we've got Benji joining us, and he is looking to continue his journey of strength and conditioning to support his soccer career. And of course, he's super interested in bringing some of these tools to you all so that you can use them in your home gym and benefit. And then Shauna, you've seen many, many times here on the channel, but something that maybe you don't know about Shauna is that she is an avid surfer. Probably 3 to 5 days a week, you can find her in the Pacific Ocean surfing right off the coast of Marin County, and she has been dedicated to that for, I don't know, the last 4 or 5 years, so much so that she has kind of readjusted her lifestyle dramatically so that she can be in the water more often, moved out to the coast recently. So if you ever have questions about surfing and how strength and conditioning overlap, Shauna is your gal. Today we had a shorter session, and why did we have a shorter session? Well, it was because of me. I came to the gym on Friday. I was leaving town at 1 o'clock to go on a weekend getaway with my wife, and I really had a lot to do also work-wise, so I just said to the team, hey guys, we got to jump right into this. Let's use some of these short-on-time tools that I like to use to make sure we get a great session in, but we're not here for 90 minutes or an hour and 20 minutes trying to just kind of bang out everything in the gym. So this is how I always like to start when I'm short on time, and that is with something called a hot start. A hot start is exactly what it sounds like. You come in and you just start and you get hot real fast. You wake up the brain, you wake up the body, you get massive blood flow to all the areas of the body that you're trying to train with purposeful and thoughtful exercise selection. There'll be some breathing, some sweating, and again, it's something that you're not supposed to need to warm up for. So I explained to the team what the workout was. It was going to be an ascending rep scheme, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, of dumbbell reverse flies on an incline bench. In between each round of the dumbbell reverse fly, you were instructed to do either 8 or 10 calories on a ski or a rower. From start to finish, this workout took about 9 minutes, or this little segment of training, this hot start, took 9 minutes. So in 9 minutes, we went from pretty cold, just starting, to breathing, pumped up, upper back. You can see grimaces on everyone's faces. So we got a great amount of volume in the upper back, in the rear delts. They got super pumped up. And because we're going to be doing a lot of pushing and pulling today, it's great to get those shoulders moving in that way. I think the ski and the rowing machine are also good tools to sort of facilitate an upper body warm-up. So when I have upper body training and I'm going to put in some cardio in a hot start or in a warm-up, I'll often choose the ski or the row or a jump rope, something that's going to activate my shoulders and get them some blood flow before we start work. All right, moving on. The second part of training, and the second thing to think about when you have a short on time workout, is leverage supersets and giant sets. With a superset, by alternating back and forth between 2 exercises, you're effectively getting a rest on one exercise while you're doing the other. So you can cut out some of the rest time. You can also cut down on the amount of transitions between exercises throughout your workout. And lastly, you can kind of cut down on the number of times you have to warm up for each particular movement or superset. The first superset we did was a high to low cable row. This was 15 to 20 reps per arm at a 2-1 exo tempo, and we superset that with a parallel push-up max reps at a similar tempo of 2 down, 1 pause, up fast. You see some of us using a band. I opted to go with body weight after my first set, but it was supposed to be a banded parallel push-up or a bodyweight parallel push-up. The first note that I can take away from this training session after coaching everybody through it and doing it myself is, number one, why are we using a variety of pulling angles in functional bodybuilding? This particular single arm lat pull down, you can see, is performed with this bench, and the angle of the arm when it's fully outstretched and reaching up at the extended position is about 60 degrees in front of the torso. So it's not a totally vertical pull like a traditional lat pull down. It's not a vertical pull like a traditional pull up. It's sort of an off angle pull down. And one of the reasons we like to use a variety of pulling angles is that basically where that loading angle is, or that pulling angle is, you're going to recruit muscles slightly differently. You're going to have a different mechanical advantage or disadvantage depending on the movement. All right, we're still on the topic of supersets. So we did a second superset. Again, time efficiency. We used 2 exercises, the cable face pull and the barbell bicep curl. Now, 2 points that came out of this particular superset. And again, the reps were somewhere in the 15 to 20 rep range for each exercise. The first was the importance of the stretch for training muscles and movements. Range of motion is so key. And on the cable face pull, you can see that I was really reaching forward and rounding my upper back on every single repetition going forward. What that was an opportunity for the muscles that I was training with this contraction, pulling back my hands past my ears. It was allowing those muscles to stretch, get the biggest stretch possible. And there's more evidence surfacing all the time in the training literature that if we get full range of motion, there are much bigger benefits to muscle building, joint health and function, and more. So again, an encouraging, note and reference to make sure you're getting full range of motion on your exercises, whether they're isolation movements or they're big compound lifts. Still, don't sacrifice range of motion for more weight. You're going to ultimately regret that in the long run because you're not going to be getting the maximal benefit out of the exercise. The second point that came from doing this superset was that refining technique has been something that I've been doing for years with my CrossFit training, but in particular around functional movements. So things like the thruster or even the burpee or the handstand walk and the muscle up, exercises that I needed to refine technique so I could get more efficient and faster at. And this is the first time, really maybe ever, that I've attempted to really think critically about my technique and coaching people in technique around isolation exercises and bodybuilding movements. What's going to get you the best pump? What's going to get you the best tension on the desired muscles? What works with a variety of different equipment? and what technique cues are effective for teaching to a group of people. And I was experimenting with this and teaching the barbell bicep curl this day and giving some pointers and some cues that I've been learning myself. And it's interesting because I'm not super refined in this yet. I will become more refined over time. I will become a better coach, and I will become a better athlete as a result, and I'll get better results from my training by refining technique, even in things that seem so simple, like a bicep curl. All right, the last thing to say is when you're short on time, make sure that you focus on achieving intensity. You're not going to get a ton of volume in. You don't have hours to train. You've got a shorter window. So make sure that the sets that you do, the conditioning that you do, you bring forth all the effort in the way of intensity because you're not getting it in the way of volume. No matter what it takes to get that intensity, do it. You might want to use a drop set on a set of bicep curls. So in this case, on my last set, I did a drop set. That's a great way to intensify a particular exercise. On my last set, I went to failure with 55 pounds. Then I stripped the weight. I took the weights off. I was down at an empty barbell, and I did another 10 reps, 10 pounds lighter to failure. That's a drop set and a great way to get some intensity even when you're short on time. Another intensity technique that you can use when you're doing resistance training is something called myo reps. Now what I did this on the cable face pull. This is where I went basically to failure on my first set, which was 20 reps. Then I rested, and then I did another 6 reps. Rested, and then I did another 6 reps. And I did that rest pause situation or technique until I could no longer do another set of 6. So I did, I think, 2, maybe 3 more sets of 6, and I called that set there. So I got in about 30 reps that were beyond, in a sense, beyond failure. So another intensity focus or an intensity technique to make the intensity the focus even when you have short on time. All right, we wrapped up this training session with essentially a repeat of the first hot start, but this time we changed the movement pattern. So we did 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21 as a conditioning finisher. We did kettlebell gorilla rows, and then everybody swapped machines. So if you did ski on the first round, you did row on the second round. The kettlebell gorilla row is an exercise where you row your right arm, you row your left arm, and that equals 1 rep. So in the round of 12, you would end up doing 12 reps per arm or 24 total reps in that set. I went with the 53-pound kettlebells, and you can see a variety of different weights being used by everybody else. So choosing weights and scaling weights back when you're short on time is pretty important. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where you pick something that was too heavy, and now this workout that should have taken 9 to 10 minutes ends up taking 15 to 20 minutes that you don't have. You don't have those extra 5 to 10 minutes in your workout. So err on the side of something that's light when it comes to conditioning, because really here the idea and the goal is to be moving continuously. The goal with conditioning is not necessarily to develop the most strength possible. So save those heavier sets for when you're doing, the supersets that I already show and talked about. And for this, pick something that's a little bit lighter. Now, not to pick on Benji, but his ski technique is just not optimal, and he clearly hasn't spent a ton of time on this particular exercise, so he has some work to do. But the good news is that the ski machine is a super safe exercise or machine, regardless of whether your technique is good, refined, or it's just beginner and you don't quite have it down. He's not going to get hurt in this exercise, and really the way he was pulling, which was a short stroke, is just going to end up being more fatiguing and taxing on his triceps, so he's going to get a more local muscle fatigue than a full upper body fatigue if he would have a little bit more optimal technique. Now you can see Shauna, myself, and even Ryan at various points in the workout today, all using the ski machine with a little bit more efficiency. The biggest efficiencies tip I can give you on the ski machine is you want to reach up as high as you can on every single stroke. Benji's are doing short strokes that start right by his ears, whereas the rest of us are reaching our arms way over our head so that we're getting a longer pull. When you reach your arms way over your head, you're going to be able to engage your lats a bit more. your triceps are still going to work, and you're going to be able to kind of squat and use your body weight to pull and to get some power behind the flywheel of the ski machine. So if you're working on your skiing and or Benji, if you're watching this, next time you come into our gym, let's practice your ski technique. Get your arms a little bit more outstretched, reach up as high as you can, and squat down a little bit. You don't have to make such fast strokes. You can slow your strokes down and get a lot more power out of each and every stroke. Okay, that wraps up the training breakdown for the day. If you enjoyed this, make sure you go give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions about the training session we did, you know what to do. Drop them in the comments below. Let me know what you want to see next discussed in a training breakdown, or if there's a training concept that you want to see us illustrate in an entire training session. I'd love to manufacture a training session with that in mind, but your comments always help us. So, as always, thank you for participating in the discussion. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.